Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today, we're going to slice right into the heart of a culinary reality TV giant, the Top Chef franchise.
Yep.
And look, this isn't just about, amazing food and perfect plating. It's really about what happens when serious culinary skill crashes into the intense pressure cooker of reality TV.
Exactly. And we've got a really fascinating stack of sources for you today. We're starting with all the buzz around the newest season, season 22, filmed entirely in Canada, some record-breaking stuff there.
Yep.
Then we'll follow the winner's journey, which is pretty moving. But importantly, we're also peeling back the layers on the behind-the-scenes drama.
Right, the stuff you don't always see.
The host change, for instance.
Yeah.
And we're digging into some of the, frankly, darker controversies and ethical problems that have kind of haunted the show and the wider industry over its, nearly 2 decades now?
Wow, yeah. So the hook for you listening is pretty compelling. We'll get into the details of this absolutely massive new prize package for season 22. Seriously, it's huge. And then we'll unpack Padma Lakshmi's departure. The reasons she gave were incredibly personal, touching on physical health, workload. It took a lot of honesty.
It really did.
And, crucially, we're going to reveal, using the judge's own words, how the show sometimes seems to prioritize, let's say, engineered suspense over maybe showing the actual cooking results accurately, which, raises some big questions.
It absolutely does. And that's why this matters, right? This isn't just TV gossip. Understanding how a show like Top Chef operates shines this really bright, sometimes uncomfortably matte light on the huge pressures, the hidden corners, and the whole celebrity-making machine in the food world today. So this deep dive, it really tells us something deeper about what it takes to survive and maybe even thrive when those cameras are rolling, and maybe just as importantly when they're off.
Okay, let's dive in then. Section 1. The new era of Top Chef Destination Canada, Season 22. Sounds big.
It really was ambitious. The season, officially called Top Chef Destination Canada, definitely made the most of its location. It premiered on Bravo, episodes hit Peacock the next day, and they really leaned into that destination part. Filming happened all over.
Yeah, that's a big change, isn't it? Usually they stick to 1 or 2 main cities.
Right. This felt like a proper cross-country food tour. They were bouncing between Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, each city offering different challenges, different ingredients.
Okay.
And maybe the most personal stop, like you mentioned earlier, was Prince Edward Island, which, of course, is Judge Gail Simmons' home turf.
Okay. That adds a nice personal dimension. Kind of grounds the competition.
Totally. And the sources were pretty clear, the chefs this season. They were on another level, matching that big location energy.
How so?
Well, the group of 15 new contestants was described consistently as, and I quote, arguably the most accomplished group in the show's entire history.
Wow. So not just hopefuls.
Not at all. These chefs came in with serious credentials already. We're talking James Beard Award nominations, actual Michelin recognition, before they even lit the first stove.
Okay, that sets a high bar. So you've got this Canada-wide tour, this super stacked cast, but the familiar faces are still there at the top.
The key leadership's back. Kristen Kish returned as host, and of course the foundation judges Tom Colicchio and Gail Simmons.
Good, that continuity helps. But you mentioned record-breaking stuff earlier.
Yeah.
Was it the prize?
Oh, yeah. If you needed any more proof of the show's, growing scale, look at the money. This season had the single biggest, most comprehensive grand prize package ever offered on Top Chef.
Okay, break it down for us. How big are we talking?
Well, the headline cash prize was $250,000, $250,000. That part came from Saratoga Springwater.
$250,000. That's life-changing money for a chef.
Absolutely. But here's the thing, just focusing on that one number kind of misses the full picture. On top of that grand prize, the sources pointed out there was over $150,000 more in total cash given out during the same event.
Wait, how?
Through the quick fires and the elimination challenges, those smaller prizes along the way, they added up significantly this season.
So doing the math quickly.
Yeah.
That's like $400,000 in just cash prizes, potentially available across the season.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge amount. But honestly, the non-cash parts of the prize might be even more valuable for a chef's actual career trajectory.
Okay, like what? The usual magazine feature?
That was there, yeah. A feature in Food and Wine magazine, an appearance at the Food and Wine Classic in Aspen, which is huge for networking, meeting industry people. Standard, but still valuable.
Right.
But then they added some serious logistics and travel perks.
Logistics?
Yeah, listen to this. The winner got Delta Sky Miles Diamond Medallion status. That's top-tier frequent flyer status.
Okay, that's nice. Avoids baggage fees.
It's way more than that. And they also got a $125,000 flight credit with Delta.
$125,000 in flight credit.
Yep. Think about what that means for a chef trying to build a global brand.
Okay, unpack that. Why is that so massive? It sounds like a lot of free flights, but...
It's about access and reach. A modern, ambitious chef isn't just stuck in one kitchen anymore, right? This kind of travel power means they can, like, instantly be anywhere.
I see. So collaborating with chefs in Tokyo 1 week.
Exactly. Sourcing unique ingredients in South America the next, doing a pop-up restaurant in London the week after. It basically turbocharges their ability to become an international name, not just a local star. It's a massive business investment disguised as a travel perk.
That makes sense. It builds the brand footprint globally almost overnight. Wow. Okay, what else was new in the prize package?
They really leaned into prestige this season, too. For the very first time, the winner got an exclusive headline dinner hosted at the James Beard House in New York City.
The James Beard House. That's like the Carnegie Hall for chefs in America, isn't it?
Pretty much. It's the epicenter of culinary recognition. And on top of that, the winner also got the chance to actually present an award at the James Beard Restaurant and Chef Awards ceremony in Chicago.
Whoa. So they're not just attending, they're on stage with the biggest names.
Exactly. It instantly validates them as a leader in the industry. It's a perfect fit for that highly accomplished cast we talked about.
It really drives home the caliber of chef they attracted. Can you give us an example or two just to, make it concrete?
Sure. Take Chef Henry Liu. He's the chef and co-owner at Jin in Houston. Now, Jin was co-founded by a Top Chef alum, Evelyn Garcia.
Oh, interesting connection.
Right. And Jin recently snagged a James Beard nomination. So he's already operating in that top tier and has ties to the Top Chef world.
Okay, established player. Who else?
Then there was Chef Bailey Sullivan. She was chef de cucina at Monteverde in Chicago, which, again, is co-owned by another major Top Chef winner, Sarah Gruneberg.
Another strong connection. It sounds like they were recruiting from within the extended family almost.
In a way, yeah. These chefs weren't just starting out. They were already working at that Michelin and James Beard level.
And any international talent, given the Canada theme.
Absolutely. Chef Massimo Piedimonte, for instance, he's the chef and owner at Cabaret L'Enfer in Montreal, so he was representing that city's really vibrant fine dining scene.
Got it. So this wasn't a group just hoping for fame. They were established pros using the show to reach that next level, like culinary royalty.
Precisely, which sets the stage perfectly for Section 2. Let's talk about the chef who actually conquered this incredibly tough field. The winner, Tristan Epps, and his whole philosophy.
Okay, let's hear about the champion. Tristan Epps, season 22 winner. Where is he based?
He was representing Houston, Texas, and his culinary company, Epps & Flows Culinary. His win capped off this really intense season, ending with a huge 2-part finale filmed over in Milan, Italy.
Milan. Wow, they really went international for the finish.
They did, and the pressure was immense. Epps was up against 2 really strong finalists, Bailey Sullivan and Shui Wang. They had to deliver the classic 4-course meal of their lives.
Standard finale format, but in Milan. Any twists?
Yeah, nice one this season. They each got help from an eliminated contestant who came back specifically to be their sous chef for the finale. Strategic choice there.
Oh, that adds an interesting dynamic. And Epps won with what kind of food?
His winning menu was deeply personal. It centered on Afro-Caribbean cuisine. Really powerful flavors and story.
Afro-Caribbean. That definitely stands out. Does that tie into his overall approach to cooking?
Absolutely. We'll get to his mission in a sec. But first, his reaction to winning. It was pretty raw. He actually admitted that when they announced his name, he just blubbered like a child.
Understandable. A flood of emotion, I bet.
Totally. He said it was this mix of pure happiness, relief, but also, interestingly, a little bit of sadness.
Sadness. Why sadness?
That's what was so interesting. He talked about the vibe during the competition. He said he was genuinely surprised that it wasn't as cutthroat and aggressive as you might expect from reality TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Despite that huge prize pool?
Yeah. He said he actually felt bad when other chefs messed up or performed poorly. He kind of wanted everyone to do well.
That definitely pushes back against the usual reality TV narrative of backstabbing and drama.
It does. He described the relationship with the other 14 chefs as this intense but really supportive camaraderie. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, the shared passion for the craft actually outweighed the usual reality TV pressures this season.
That's refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to his food. You said Afro-Caribbean for the finale. What's his broader culinary mission? What does he want to achieve with this win?
His philosophy is really interesting. He calls his food the diaspora of cooking.
The diaspora of cooking, what does that mean to him?
For Epps, it means drawing inspiration from all over the place. Africa, the Caribbean, yes, but also weaving in French techniques, maybe some Asian flavors. But the key, he says, is that the final dish always needs to offer something familiar, something deeply comforting. It's about connecting people through shared flavors, even if the journey there is global.
That's a beautiful concept, connecting through comfort. And his goal with the Top Chef platform?
It's pretty ambitious. He wants to use this visibility to shine a light on, as he put it, different types of cuisines that aren't necessarily mainstream.
Okay.
He wants to encourage people to be proud of their cultural food heritage and present those dishes uncensored to the world. He sees the platform as a way to potentially shift dining culture, bring these flavors into the spotlight.
That's powerful. And is he putting that huge prize money towards this mission?
Immediately. He was very clear about his plans. He's using the money to open his own brick-and-mortar restaurant in Houston.
Great. Building his base.
But more than that, he specifically talked about wanting to give back. He mentions supporting people who look like him or people from other cultures whose communities or cuisines might be underserved in the broader food landscape. He's thinking beyond just his own success.
Wow. That's genuinely inspiring. Using the win for systemic change, almost. What a great way to wrap up the season's story.
It really is. Shows the positive potential of the franchise.
But that success story happened under a new regime, so to speak. There was a huge change at the top recently. The host transition. That brings us to Section 3. Padma Lakshmi out. Kristen Kish in.
Yeah, Kristen Kish taking the hosting reins in season 21 was a seismic shift for the show. And what makes her appointment so fascinating, as our sources really emphasize, is her own history with Top Chef. She's not some outside celebrity they brought in.
Right, she won the show. Season 10, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. But her win itself is legendary. It's one of the greatest comeback stories the show has ever seen because remember, she was actually eliminated during her season.
Oh, I forgot about that. She had to cook her way back in?
She had to go through the ringer in Last Chance Kitchen. She needed 5 straight wins against other eliminated chefs just to get back into the main competition. 5 consecutive, high-pressure wins.
5 in a row in LCK. That's insane. LCK is brutal.
It really is. It's not just simple cooking. It's sudden death, weird ingredients, intense pressure. Winning once is tough. 5 times back-to-back shows incredible mental toughness, adaptability, and pure skill.
And then she went on to win the whole thing.
Yep. She beat the incredibly talented Brooke Williamson in the finale. She was only the second woman to win Top Chef at that point.
So when she steps onto set as host, she has instant credibility with the contestants. They know she's been exactly where they are.
Absolutely. And critics seem to have picked up on that. They describe Kish as witty, smart, sharp, and a really great analyst of the food. She gets the pressure because she lived it right.
Yeah, that makes sense. How does her style compare to Padma's? Padma was the face of the show for so long.
It's a fascinating comparison the experts made. Padma, over her 17 years, had this incredible presence. She drew viewers into herself, her elegance, her sophisticated palate, her emotional connection to the food.
Right, she was very magnetic.
Kish, on the other hand, is being praised for something different. They say she draws people to each other. She seems to foster more connection, maybe a more collaborative feeling among the chefs and judges. She's positioned more as this grounded, super knowledgeable guide through the process.
A fundamental shift in the energy, maybe.
Yeah.
More peer-like, less matriarchal.
Perhaps. And you wonder if having a former winner there, someone who truly gets it, changes the dynamic for the chefs. Maybe it feeds into that camaraderie Tristan Epps was talking about.
It could. Which brings us to the big question. Why did Padma step away? After nearly 2 decades, what led to that decision?
Well, her departure after season 20 wasn't really sudden. It seems it was a complex buildup of factors, the main ones: sheer workload and the physical toll.
The workload must have been immense.
Unbelievable. She said it had become exhausting and untenable. Think about it. She was on location filming for something like 8 months a year.
8 months between Top Chef and Kroger.
And her other show, the Emmy-nominated travel food series, Taste the Nation. Juggling those 2 massive productions. She basically said she needed to challenge herself creatively, sure, but also just needed space for a personal life, for relationships, things that had taken a back seat for years.
Completely understandable. Burnout is real, even in glamorous jobs. But you mentioned a physical toll.
Yes, and this is where she got incredibly candid. And it's something people watching food TV maybe don't think about. The simple physical act of being a professional food judge.
Meaning just eating that much food.
Exactly. She spoke very frankly about the strain of having to taste and digest that much food in a day, day after day, for months straight during filming.
Wow. I mean, it sounds fun, but doing it constantly.
She said she really struggled with weight fluctuations. She mentioned gaining 2 dress sizes consistently every single season, and she put it bluntly, saying she now basically lives in the fucking gym to manage the sheer volume of food she had to consume for the job.
That's intense. It puts a totally different perspective on those judging panels.
And there was another layer, a serious health issue. She talked openly about her struggles with endometriosis.
Okay, I know that's a painful condition. How did it affect her work?
Before she was diagnosed, it apparently severely impacted her digestion. So add chronic pain and digestive issues on top of having to eat huge amounts of rich food. It sounds incredibly difficult. She even revealed she needed emergency surgery at one point because the endometrial tissue had wrapped around her intestines.
Oh my God, that's life-threatening.
It was incredibly serious. And her sharing that, it really reframes her departure, doesn't it? It wasn't just moving on. It sounds like it became a necessary decision for her health and well-being.
Absolutely. That kind of honesty is rare.
Mm.
And she's used that experience for advocacy, right?
Yes, she co-founded the Endometriosis Foundation of America, using her platform to raise awareness about this often misunderstood condition. It really highlights the immense personal sacrifice involved in hosting Top Chef for so long.
Nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
It's an era ending. But she wasn't the first host, was she? There was someone before her.
Briefly, yes. The very first host, for season 1 only, was Katie Lee Joel. She was married to Billy Joel at the time.
Right. What happened there?
Well, the feedback wasn't great. Viewers apparently found her too robotic and wooden. She was replaced after just that one season.
Ouch. A quick exit.
Yeah, but it didn't sink her career at all. She went on to have a really successful career in food TV elsewhere. It just shows that, one reality TV gig doesn't necessarily define you.
True. But speaking of reality
Yeah.
and how it gets shaped, let's shift gears into section 4. This feels crucial. The art of manipulation, editing, and integrity.
Yeah, this is fundamental for anyone watching these shows. We have to acknowledge what I call the sensory gap.
Sensory gap.
As viewers, we can't taste the food right. We're completely dependent on what the judges say, how the food looks, and crucially, how the show is edited. The judges essentially become our taste buds.
Okay, makes sense. We trust their judgment.
But that trust gives the producers enormous power, and our sources revealed pretty explicitly that this power is sometimes used to, actively mislead the audience, all in the name of creating suspense and keeping ratings up.
Mislead how? Can you give an example?
The most recent and maybe most blatant example was the controversy around the season 21 finale in Wisconsin.
Okay, I remember watching that. Danny Garcia won, right? Historic win, first Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Muslim winner.
Exactly. He was up against the runner-up, Dan. Now, if you watch that finale episode, based purely on the judges' comments shown on screen, it really felt like Danny was getting torn apart with criticism.
Yeah, I remember thinking that. It seemed like Dan was doing much better based on the feedback we heard.
Right. So when Danny was announced as the winner, it felt kind of jarring. Like, wait, what? Did I miss something?
Totally. It felt like an upset based on the edit.
And that feeling was completely intentional. This wasn't just accidental editing. Judge Gail Simmons actually confirmed this on another platform after the finale aired.
Gail confirmed they manipulated the edit. What did she say?
She admitted that, the show's editing is often deliberately managed to build suspense and keep viewers guessing until the very last second. Specifically for that finale, she said they intentionally cut out a lot of the criticism they actually had for the runner-up, Dan, and strategically bumped up or emphasized the criticism aimed at the real winner, Danny.
Wow. Why would they do that? What's the justification?
Pragmatism, basically. As Gail put it, they need to throw everyone off the scent. Their thinking is, if the winner seems totally obvious, halfway through the finale, viewers might lose interest, the dramatic tension evaporates.
I get the logic from a TV production standpoint, but wow. What's the impact of that on the audience and the winner?
Well, the immediate impact is it can seriously damage the show's credibility, right? You manipulate the audience's perception so much that when the actual, presumably merit-based winner is announced, people feel confused, maybe even cheated.
Yeah, you start thinking, did the judges get it wrong?
Yeah.
Or worse, is this whole thing rigged?
Exactly. And Tom Colicchio even had to address the backlash publicly. He agreed that in that specific case, they probably over-edited it. They pushed the narrative too far away from the reality of the judging.
So this brings up a really fundamental question for the show, doesn't it? Is Top Chef primarily a true merit-based cooking competition? Or is creating drama and suspense the top priority, even if it means twisting the truth?
That's the core tension right there. Because if the judges, the people we trust as the experts and arbiters, are openly admitting that the audience is being actively misled about who's actually performing better.
Well, the whole premise of the best chef wins starts to feel a bit shaky, doesn't it?
It really does. It feels like it breaks the contract with the viewer, almost. And it must be tough for the winner, too, like Danny Garcia. His historic victory gets clouded because the edit made him look less deserving than he actually was.
Absolutely. It does a huge disservice to the winner. They have to make engaging TV, no doubt. But the question is, at what point does that manipulation completely undermine the reality and integrity the show claims to represent? It's that classic conflict between artistic merit and commercial demands playing out right there on the judging table. And, this tension, this question of integrity, it doesn't just stop in the editing room. It stretches into the real-world behavior of people involved with the show, which leads us, unfortunately, into our final, more sobering section. Section 5. The Top Chef Scandal Archives.
Yeah, we need to look at some of the shadows behind the shiny kitchen counters. There have been some serious issues over the years, starting with misconduct involving contestants and alumni. Sometimes that competitive pressure boiled over in really ugly ways.
Ugly how?
Yeah.
It's a major example.
One of the earliest and most shocking incidents was back in season 2. It got grimly nicknamed the close shave assault.
It's assault on the show.
Yes. It involved contestant Marcel Vigneron. He was clearly very talented, innovative chef, but maybe rubbed some of the others the wrong way.
Okay, so what happened?
The sources detail a really disturbing event. Several other contestants, Cliff Crooks, Ellen Hall, and Ilya Abumrad, apparently got drunk and decided to haze Marcel while he was asleep. It went beyond hazing. It was a physical assault. They dragged him out of bed, held him down, and tried to forcibly shave his head with electric clippers. Cliff Crooks was identified as the one physically pinning Marcel down, while the others reportedly laughed and even filmed it.
That's horrific. That's actual assault. How did the show handle that?
Well, the aftermath really exposed that conflict between, basic morality and the pressures of TV production. Tom Colicchio was apparently furious. He wanted all the perpetrators kicked off immediately. He argued Marcel should just be declared the winner right then and there.
Seems like the right call.
But the producers stepped in. Their main concern seemed to be finishing the filming schedule on time and on budget. So the compromise was they only sent Cliff Crooks home.
Only the one who pinned him down. What about the others involved?
Ellen Hall and Ilya Abumrad, who were also key participants in the assault, were allowed to stay and continue competing. It sent a pretty troubling message, didn't it? That production needs sometimes trump basic safety and ethical responses to violence.
Wow. That's, deeply troubling. Has misconduct followed other contestants after the show?
Sadly, yes. Paul Quee, who won Season 9, faced a major public scandal in 2016. He was arrested and charged with assaulting his girlfriend. Police reports described a violent, drug-fueled rampage.
Oh, man. That sounds awful.
The details were grim. Police noted injuries on the victim, and a toxicology report found Quee had a dangerous mix of substances in his system, alprazolam, cocaine, THC, just a really volatile situation.
What happened with the charges?
They were eventually dropped because the victim stopped cooperating with the prosecution, which can happen in domestic violence cases. But the damage to his reputation and career was immediate and severe.
How so?
He lost restaurants almost overnight. 3 of his places closed down. The scandal basically destroyed the momentum he had built from his Top Chef win. It's a stark reminder that celebrity status doesn't shield you from the consequences of your actions. Then there was a less violent, but still controversial, kitchen incident, Season 7's infamous Pea-gate.
Pea-gate. Sounds intriguing. What was that about?
It revolved around pea puree, believe it or not. Chef Ed Cotton made this specific pea puree for his dish. Somewhere between prepping it and kneading it for plating, it just vanished.
Vanished, like someone took it.
That was the allegation, because suddenly another competitor, Alex Resnick, who hadn't seemed sure about his dish components earlier, presented a dish featuring what looked like an identical pea puree.
Okay, that sounds suspicious. Did they catch him? Was there proof?
That was the problem. Despite Ed Cotton being frantic, searching everywhere, and the obvious suspicion pointing at Alex, there wasn't any definitive camera footage showing the alleged theft. So the show never officially resolved it.
And the outcome.
The real kicker. Alex Resnick actually won that challenge with the mystery puree dish. Ed Cotton had to scramble, completely change his dish on the fly because his key component was gone, and obviously didn't win. Talk about frustrating.
Unbelievable. Okay, so that's contestant behavior. What about issues involving the judges or guest stars? You mentioned workplace problems earlier.
Yeah, unfortunately, the wider restaurant industry issues of harassment and labor violations have touched the show's orbit, too. A really significant case involved John Besh.
Famous New Orleans chef, right? How was he involved?
He was filmed as a guest judge for an episode in season 15, but then, between filming and when the episode was supposed to air, a huge investigative report dropped.
What did it reveal?
Accusations from 25 different women. They alleged Besh had fostered this toxic work environment over many years, involving widespread sexual harassment, assault, and even claimed she pressured an employee into an unwanted long-term sexual relationship.
25 women, that's staggering. How did Bravo react, given he was already filmed?
Their response was actually quite decisive and kind of unprecedented at the time. They made the call to completely edit John Besh out of the episode before it ever aired.
They just cut him out entirely.
Yep, scrubbed him from the show. Tom Colicchio publicly supported the decision, even called the production company to back them up. It showed a real shift, maybe driven by the hashtag #MeToo movement, forcing production to take a stand.
That's a strong statement. Any other alumni face similar issues?
Yes, Mike Isabella. He was a memorable contestant from season 6 and All Stars. He got hit with a major lawsuit from a former manager.
What were the allegations there?
Similar themes: creating a hostile work environment, rampant sexual harassment, and also wrongful termination of a chef who had complained about the conditions.
What happened with that lawsuit?
Isabella eventually settled the case out of court, but the damage was done. The restaurant industry basically turned its back on him very quickly.
So, real consequences.
Absolutely. The fallout was swift and brutal. He ended up filing for bankruptcy and had to close his entire restaurant group, something like 11 different concepts in 2018. It really shows how quickly reputations can crumble when these kinds of allegations are substantiated or settled.
It's a pattern of serious workplace issues. But the problems weren't just about harassment, were they? You mentioned wage theft, too, even involving the main judges.
Yeah, this is maybe the most uncomfortable part. Even figures positioned as leaders, like Tom Colicchio, who often speaks out about fair labor practices, have faced scrutiny.
Tom Colicchio faced lawsuits. Over what?
He faced 2 separate lawsuits related to his restaurants. One involved Temple Court, the other Craft Bar. The allegations centered on things like unfair tip distribution and potentially violating minimum wage laws.
Can you elaborate on the tip issue? That seems common in restaurants.
The Temple Court case, which the suit claimed covered about 6 years, was about special events. They charged a service fee, a portion of which was supposed to go to the waitstaff as tips. The lawsuit alleged that money wasn't being properly distributed to the staff.
And the outcome?
Colicchio fought the Temple Court suit and ultimately won that case. However, his other restaurant, Craft Bar, had previously settled a different lawsuit out of court over similar accusations about improperly keeping tips. It highlights just how complex and contentious tip handling is in the industry, even at the very top.
And he wasn't the only judge facing labor issues.
No. Graham Elliott, who joined the judging panel later, had also settled a significant lawsuit back in 2012. 14 former employees at his Chicago restaurant sued him over illegal tip pooling practices, basically, alleging management was taking a cut of tips they weren't entitled to, depriving staff of fair wages.
Wow. So the very people judging culinary excellence were simultaneously dealing with these fundamental questions about fair labor in their own businesses. That's quite a conflict.
It is sobering, isn't it? And the conflicts didn't just stay within the kitchen or the business offices. Sometimes the danger spilled right onto the set itself.
What do you mean?
The Boston Teamsters incident during season 12 filming, this wasn't just a disagreement. It got violent and led to federal charges.
Teamsters, what was their issue with Top Chef?
They were protesting the show using a non-union crew while filming in Boston. There were also allegations that the production might have been improperly benefiting from Massachusetts film tax credits. But the protest quickly escalated beyond just picketing.
How bad did it get?
Sources describe 4 Teamsters members verbally and physically harassing the cast and crew. It got really ugly.
Physically harassing them.
Yeah. They reportedly targeted Padma Lakshmi specifically, came right up to her car, yelled threats, including one saying, "I'll smash your pretty little face."
That's terrifying. Pure intimidation.
Absolutely. Reports mention them yelling obscenities, chest-bumping crew members, and it ended with the tires being slashed on 14 different crew vehicles. Police reports confirmed the vandalism.
14 vehicles. This was serious. Did it connect to anything bigger?
It did. The incident became part of a larger federal investigation into the Boston mayor's office at the time, looking into potential improper connections between city officials and organized labor. Allegations surfaced that someone in the mayor's office might have tried to pressure the production company by withholding permits, trying to force them to hire union members. It shows how these location shoots can get tangled in local politics and labor disputes, sometimes dangerously so.
Just layers upon layers of complication. Any other major production scandals, maybe internationally?
Well, there was the Blame Canada incident, but this time involving Top Chef Canada back in 2011. It was about ingredient choice.
What ingredient caused a scandal?
Horse meat.
Horse meat on Top Chef.
Yeah. The challenge was themed around traditional French cuisine, where horse meat is, consumed in some regions. But in Canada, it's really not common and culturally quite sensitive outside of maybe parts of Quebec.
So the Canadian audience didn't react well.
Not at all. It sparked this immediate, intense backlash on social media. People were calling for a boycott of the show. The network defended it, saying it was necessary for a truly authentic, traditional French menu. But it clearly hit a nerve and showed a lack of understanding of the local cultural context. They seemed unprepared for how strong the negative reaction would be.
Right. So looking back at this whole archive, assault, harassment settlements, wage theft allegations, union violence, cultural missteps, it paints a pretty complex picture, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a powerful reminder that while we celebrate the creativity and the success stories that come out of the Top Chef kitchen, the reality TV environment, combined with the existing pressures of the high-end restaurant world, can lead to some incredibly dark and complicated situations.
Okay, so let's try to bring this all together. We've gone from the excitement and the huge prizes of the latest season in Canada, celebrating a winner like Tristan Epps with a really positive mission.
Right, championing the diaspora of cooking.
That through the very personal reasons behind Padma Lakshmi's departure after so long, the physical toll.
And Kristen Kish stepping in, bringing her own champion's perspective.
And then diving deep into these scandals, the editing manipulation, the contested misconduct, the serious workplace issues, even violence on set. It's quite a journey.
It really covers the full spectrum, doesn't it? The highs and the lows. And what seems clear is that the central conflict of Top Chef, maybe its defining legacy, isn't just about who cooks the best dish under pressure.
What is it then?
It feels like it's this constant underlying tension. The tension between the show's stated goal, finding true culinary excellence, being a meritocracy, and the undeniable demands of making dramatic, compelling, high-stakes reality television that keeps people watching.
And that editing controversy we discussed really throws that tension into sharp relief, doesn't it? The integrity question feels like the biggest elephant in the room now.
Absolutely. If the show's own judges are admitting they deliberately mislead the audience about who's winning just to create suspense, well, what does that really say about their commitment to fairness and merit? Does knowing you're being manipulated fundamentally change how you feel about the competition? Does it break that trust?
It certainly makes you question things.
It pits credibility against entertainment value. The show is successful because we believe the food is judged, honestly, that the best chef truly wins. So, the provocative thought we want to leave you with is this. Given everything we've discussed, the industry's history of labor problems, the show's admitted willingness to manipulate the narrative for ratings, what's the absolute minimum level of integrity Top Chef has to maintain? How do they strike that balance so the competition feels both totally gripping and completely credible?
And maybe more broadly, in a world where we rely so much on edited images and commentary to understand reality, can those two things, compelling drama and objective truth, ever really coexist perfectly on screen?
That's the big question, isn't it?
We hope this deep dive has given you a much richer, more nuanced understanding of the high-stakes, high-pressure, and sometimes highly scandalous world of competitive cooking shows like Top Chef.